Today on Monkey Life, a new baby Wooly enters the world. And first-time mum Ava is bowled over by her new arrival.
She seems to be really happy with the baby, completely in love with it, and just happy spending some time with her little bundle of joy.
Renovation work at the pavilion is nearing completion, and the chimps get to try out their new route to the outside. With varying results.
Life's become very dull for this group, and it needs a bit of livening up.
And sadness at the passing of one of the park's most iconic characters. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Now she's starting to look around. I think we're going to make good progress.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 22 different species. It's been an eventful night at Lavar's group of woolly monkeys. Staff arrived early to discover that overnight, 6-year-old Ava had given birth, and it seems she's already smitten with her new arrival.
She seems to be completely in love with it, very protective already, which is great, which is what you'd hope with a first-time mum, or with any mum. So she's just taking herself away. She is letting the others come near her, but if they're getting a bit too much, or if she's been having a sleep and they've snuck up on her, she has given them a bit of a warning shout, but other than that, she's been really calm and just happy spending some time with her little bundle of joy.
The birth was caught on one of the bedroom's CCTV cameras during the night. A close look shows the rest of the group were awake and curious as the newborn entered the world. It's yet to be determined if it's a boy or a girl. And so far, things are going smoothly. For such a young first-time mum, Ava seems to be coping well. But of course, she's had a perfect role model in her own mum, Urema, who has successfully raised 5 children. And more recently, there's been the example set by her half-sister Zingu. Ava's been able to watch and learn as she's mothered her little one, Layla.
I'm so happy that Ava's actually carrying this baby. It's always a worry when you know they're pregnant, particularly with the woolly monkeys, any stress that they come into contact with. But seeing how naturally it seems to be coming to her, we are hopeful that it'll carry on being great.
As they do with all new mums, the team are keeping a close eye on Ava and her baby. They want to make sure the baby is gripping on tightly, suckling, and urinating and defecating properly.
It does all seem to be quite natural for her. She has cleaned the baby up. She's keeping the baby nice and high on her chest. And when the baby is rooting around, she's not batting it away. She is making sure that the baby is comfortable and supporting the baby when she's walking around. So again, all very natural instincts and great to see in a first-time mum.
And the staff aren't the only ones interested in the newborn. The rest of the group are inquisitive onlookers. Until there's a bit of fun to be had, of course. With 2 fully grown males in the group, Manny and older, more experienced dad, Lavar, the team can't be 100% sure who the father of the new baby is. They'll have to check dates and records of when they saw Ava being mated. For now, they're trying to keep the group's routine as normal as possible so as not to unsettle Ava and the baby. The Woolies have been given access to the outside tunnel, but because it's only been a few hours, the team have prevented the new mum reaching the outdoor enclosure. While Ava is in the tunnel, the staff can observe her closely, and they're looking out for something in particular.
I haven't 100% seen suckling yet. She sits in quite a funny way and wraps her tail around her, so I'm just being overly cautious, really, that the baby can get a route to the nipple. As it's the first 24 hours, it can be critical, but I just like to get a 100% look and make sure that it's all going well.
Hopefully, the team will soon see the baby feeding. But until then, Claire and the rest of the team will be watching closely for any signs of distress from the youngster, and keeping everything crossed that Ava turns out to be a natural mum just like her own. For the past few months, a major building project has been going on at the park. Paddy's pavilion has been undergoing a substantial refurbishment. It's one of the oldest buildings at the park, and having housed a host of rowdy chimps over the years, it's in need of renovation.
Paddy's group has changed. It's no longer Paddy's group. Things are evolving, and we have to evolve with the chimps. And it was time to take the initiative and actually refurbish the back bedrooms, because it still had the original roof. So the roof's being replaced. Bedrooms have been expanded a bit and refurbished, and a brand new, I suppose we called the original one the Tunnel of Fun. So not only does it give the chimps in the end of the day more access around their whole facility, but for right now it means that we can manage them in and out of their enclosure and into the pavilion while the builders carry on the refurbishments in the back.
But essential maintenance isn't the only reason for the building work. Alison has exciting plans.
I'm hoping for the introduction of a new chimpanzee into this group as well. So this is the start of the beginning of our new transition here for what was Paddy's group, a new future for the group and for new individuals that might be joining them.
Today, the established group of chimps are going to test drive the tunnel for the very first time.
Right, you ready?
Yeah.
But how they'll react to something new, no one is quite sure.
Chatter.
Female Chatter leads the way, with Athena close behind. Kathy and Lola aren't so confident. They're a bit wary of the new tunnel. It's left to high-ranking male Buster to show them how it's done. Cindy finds this new walkway to the outside all a bit exciting. But not everyone is 100% convinced. While Chatter is happily collecting and eating her breakfast in the enclosure, Clin and Kathy are still to make the leap of faith. Some of these chimps have lived in the pavilions for almost 30 years, and not a lot has altered in that time.
This group of chimpanzees is actually our oldest group. We've got a bunch of sort of geriatrics in here that we're having to now watch their health care, their future, how they're going to develop. And really, you know, for them, you can see a lot of the time they're sort of lounging around, picking their fingernails. Life's become very dull for this group, and it needs a bit of livening up.
And that's the plan. Over the next few weeks, along with the changes in facilities, there's going to be a whole new dynamic for everyone involved.
We're ready to start adding new faces to this group on into future. The chimp group needs to have some life breathed back into it now. So, you know, for all of the primate care staff, especially the newer members of the team, it's going to be a bit of a scary, daunting thing, but it's what we do here. It's what the park was originally designed for, to give a future and a life to those individuals who have had their families stolen from them.
The first new chimp on Alison's radar is an adult female, Toprish. She was stolen from her family in the wild at a very young age and kept illegally as a pet before being abandoned at a zoo just outside Istanbul. She's in desperate need of companionship of her own kind. Alison has agreed to bring her back to Monkey World, where hopefully she'll join Paddy's group. The primate care team aren't underestimating the challenges she'll face.
She's going to have to learn a lot of chimp politics to fit in. She's going to need to learn who's in charge and how she needs to react to the dominant females in here. I think she will find it easier with the boys. The boys will probably accept a new female much quicker than the females will, but we'll see a lot of changes within the group when she arrives.
Life for the chimps and their carers is about to get very interesting indeed. Over at the Orangutan nursery, the group are all outside and making the most of the fabulous weather. But they've got their work cut out tackling today's breakfast. The fruit has been put into a number of kongs and placed all around the enclosure. And as usual, it's Oisin who's making sure she gets first pick of what's on offer.
Life's very fun in the nursery at the moment. There's a lot of energy going on, and the little kids, Bulu, Mata, Rika, and Mimi, all their climbing skills and confidence has come on leaps and bounds over the last few months or so. So there's lots and lots of rustling going on. Mimi's also taken it upon herself to get quite a good little relationship going on with Jin at the moment, almost looks up to him like a big brother, and she's getting involved with some of the gentler rustling as well, but they're all getting on fantastic at the moment.
There are 2 species of orangutans in the nursery. Oisin, Jin and Mimi are all Bornean orangutans, while Bulu, Rika and Sylvester are Sumatran. And the most obvious difference is their colour.
You can see that the Sumatrans are just generally a lot lighter in coloration with the hair, particularly around the sideburns and the beard area. And as they mature of age, the males have this absolutely striking beard. It almost looks like they've bleached their hair. Whereas the Borneans, they do generally stay a lot darker, but always if you look around that sideburn beard area, you see that lighter hair. That's that telltale sign that you're looking at a Sumatran.
The nursery at Monkey World is the official European creche for orphaned orangutan youngsters. It provides them with a home and a family where they can grow up living with others of their own kind. The park no longer actively breeds their orangutans, but does participate in the European breeding programme. Along with the majority of species on the planet, orangutan youngsters grow up and leave their family unit, and it's no different here in the nursery. The 2 older boys, Jin and Sylvester, are adolescent teenagers, and Jin in particular is starting to make the transition to adult male.
Jin is getting to the age now where he's a little bit big to be in the nursery. All of those hormones are really rushing around in him, and he's getting a lot bigger. You can see that neck muscle really starting to form on him. And adult males in the orangutan world, they just don't mix with other males. It's very difficult to deal with certain situations like that compared to the social groups that you see at Monkey World. And he's getting to that stage that he is going to have to move on.
That may be in the very near future. Monkey World has had great success rearing youngsters and then finding them new homes and groups across Europe as part of the breeding programme. Sisters Xiaoning and Dinda are a perfect example. They both moved to Rostock Zoo in Germany and have since given birth to healthy daughters, and they're proving to be fantastic mums.
Even though they weren't taught that maternal instinct by their mothers originally, being around the other orangutans in the nursery creche obviously shows that the whole thing behind it is working.
It's been a desperate few weeks over at Sally's house. The team, led by Jeremy, have been caring for the matriarch of the former nursery group around the clock, since her health began to dramatically deteriorate. Sadly, despite all their efforts, this morning, with the help of the local vet, they had to let her go, and she passed away.
We did everything we could for Sally. There was nothing else that could be done. I'm rock solid on that. Sally had kidney failure. There's nothing we could do to have treated it, reversed it, changed it. So in the end, Sally's passing was with her family. Every night she was with all of the other guys. She was with Jeremy 24/7, which, to be honest, if you were able to speak to Sal, she probably preferred his company than all of the rest of her mob. And just another significant character passing on from the park.
The person who knew and understood Sally more than anyone else was Jeremy. He knew immediately something wasn't right. As a result, the vets were quickly called in to run a number of tests.
That first blood test confirmed exactly what we thought. She was profoundly anemic, but the real devastating blow at that point was her kidneys were failing.
All the team could do was make Sally as comfortable as possible, and hope for a miracle they suspected would never come. Jeremy spent most of Sally's last days by her side.
Tell you this, what 90% of our job is, it's the Florence Nightingale approach. And that's really, that's all we got. Look about that. Is that all right? Oops, sorry, don't want that. Is that better than probiotics, or worse, or somewhere in between? Huh? I got to the point now, if she wants it, she can have it. I don't care what it is.
Jeremy spent 25 years getting to know and understand Sally's unique character.
She's like a cast of characters, and she doesn't actually deserve some of the images that she's got, because Sally is unashamedly, like me, totally and utterly selfish. Now, being selfish spitefully at your cost, oh no, that's not nice. But looking after number one, there's nothing wrong with that, thank you very much. As a survival and a general life plan. And that's Sally, she does what she wants to do, which makes her potentially not acceptable socially, which is why she does struggle with other people of her own age group. So, she's not got a lot to give. She doesn't meet in the middle.
Sally arrived at Monkey World in 1993. She was thought to be 4 to 5 years old. Once it became clear to the team she wasn't keen on adult chimp company and didn't like being part of large groups, she moved to the nursery, where she remained ever after.
What's that? Here, we've got here. Never mind me, let's say hello to Seamus. See, he said hello to you. Hello.
It was here that she found her forte and became the backbone of the group.
A horrible monkey. Oh, I like you, Sally. I always like you.
In those early days, a large number of young chimps were rescued from Spanish beaches, where they were used as photographers' props, as well as from the pet trade and laboratories. Almost all ended up in Sally's care at one stage or another.
I think Sally played a really important role in those individuals that joined her group. She was the one that they would typically meet first, and obviously Sally worked out that was quite good from a selfish point of view, because it often involved some Jeremy time and some treats. But she was a good starting point, and a way that you could introduce those youngsters to a bigger chimp. And introduce them to that concept, and somebody that was around to keep all the little ones in check. So, of course, it wouldn't have worked so well without her.
There you go. You couldn't wish for better than that, could you? I mean, she is so special.
Sally assumed the role of adoptive mum, teaching the youngsters how to behave like chimps and encouraging them to play and enjoy the outdoors. She became pivotal in helping them overcome their traumatic backgrounds and start a new life with others of their own kind.
Sally was instrumental in the care and rehabilitation of so many individuals over the years at the park. At some point, I should sit down and count them all up. It's huge. It's huge how many went through her care, old and young. She accepted them. She took them on and was kind and led the way and showed them all how to become chimpanzees again, and was just a brilliant, caring individual.
So Sally's a professional at this. It's what you do, isn't it, Sal? And this is going well. Look at Pip's face. I mean, she can't get over what's this wonderful animal. Look at it.
Sally definitely was a very unique character. She kind of had that balance between showing them the affection that they needed. Some individuals she would carry, but also being the disciplinarian as well, which is really important because obviously when they started life in the adult groups, there was some telling off to do, and they'd had an experience of that in kind of a smaller, safer environment.
Come on.
Having Jeremy there to be able to take a youngster in with Sally, who could be viewed as a large and intimidating character, was critical.
Here you go, Sal. Here you go.
I always say it's, not possible to consider yourself an unofficial chimpanzee or part of their community. I don't view it that way. They know that we're different, that we're outsiders, but if ever there were an unofficial member of that group, it is Jeremy. And they're tag teaming of each other in terms of rehabilitating chimpanzees. I mean, both of them deserve an award for sure.
There's no doubt that in her 25 years in residence, she became one of the park's most iconic characters and well-known faces. But even more than that, she represents so much of what Monkey World stands for. Her legacy will live on with the care team and the chimps she helped along the way.
We'll always miss Sally, and we'll always remember, the amazing chimp that she was and the significant contribution that she made to the rehabilitation of the chimps at Monkey World. But we carry on for the guys that are still with us.
She was one of those characters that, symbolized everything we do here at the park, which is to try and give those chimpanzees that are confiscated, that are stolen from the wild, try and give them some form of natural life back again. And Sally was a key player in our primate care staff. So, yeah, she's going to be missed by both the chimps and all of the people here at the park.
You've got your work cut out there, Sal. Bandit at 2 o'clock. You know how you get a song going on in your mind? I've got 25 years living next door to Sally on my mind all the time.
Next time on Monkey Life. Alison and Vet John are in Turkey to collect a young chimp previously stolen from the wild and kept as a pet.
I know. This is a big leap of faith. I know. Yeah, good girl.
Plus, back at the park, it's sweet treat time for the Stumpies.